All right, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class, and today we'll continue from last class. Last class we talked about functions, and today we'll be going in depth into more features of functions and all. So making methods flexible, parameters, and return values. Okay. So today we'll look into methods and functions. We'll just have a recap of what we did last week, and we look into parameters and return values, passing data in the syntax of how we pass in parameters in our methods. Then we'll look into multiple parameters, getting data out, and combining both the powerhouse method and all. All right. Let me see if someone is the queue. No one is at the queue. All right. So previously we learned about methods which are named blocks of reusable codes, and we talked about the drive principle, which means don't repeat yourself, right? So we saw how we can define a method. So how we define a method is by calling the access keyword, the public, then the return, which what we did in our last class was void. We're not returning any values. So when you're not returning a value or anything, it is a void method. Then we gave it a method name, then add our parentheses, open and close, and the body. So those were how we were able to create a method, you know. So today we would look into flexible methods, parameters, and return types. Parameters and return types. So to make methods truly powerful and flexible, we need two concepts, and one of them is parameters, and the second one is return values. So parameters are how you feed information into your method, right? So assuming I have a method that more like you are asked to write a method that just greets hello, good morning, and the name of the person. Hello, good morning, Emmanuel. Hello, good morning, um, gift. Hello, good morning, blessing, and all, right? So imagine you were asked to greet five people using methods, right? You realize that you'd end up creating five different methods. And this method will be targeting the different people by their name. So like I said earlier, we have hello, good morning, Emmanuel. That's one. Hello, good morning, gift. Hello, good morning, blessing. Like that, up to five times, right? But with these parameters, we don't need to do that, right? They are data that you pass into the method when you call it, which prevents you from really repeating yourself or duplicating a line of code. So when we go into demo, we'll all see this clearly, but just know that parameters and return values, they are two important concepts that makes our methods dynamic. Can someone hear me? Let me know whether you can hear me.
Yes.
All right, hope we are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, hold on. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the next. Um, this stuff is, yeah, okay. So parameters passing data in. So parameters are special variables listed in a method's definition. They act as placeholders for the values that you pass into the method. And there's a reason for why we need parameters. Why do I need parameter in my method, right? It can perform its tag differently based on the data it receives. Then, like I said, dynamically, you can actually make it dynamic by using parameters and all. So looking into the syntax of how we make use of parameters in our method. So we have the static, the return value, which is void, then method name. Then inside this parenthesis, this is where we will be putting our parameter. So we have the data type first. We all know what a data type is. Header gift, what is a data type? Gift, what is a data type? You're confused, Abby. Emmanuel, what is a data type?
The data type are primitive values the that define the values, like examples like string, boolean,
Okay.
objects, yeah,
Okay. All
number.
right. All right. Thank you. So when you call methods, you provide actual arguments and also we have the syntax, which is defining the parameters, right? This is actually defining it. Then how do we call the method after we have defined it? We call it by just calling the method name. We know in our last class, we talked about parameterless methods where we just have a empty parenthesis. There was nothing inside. That is a parameterless method. But today we'll be talking about parameters and all. So would have multiple parameters, but for this syntax now, this syntax is making use of one parameter, which is a data type and the parameter name. So an example could be int, which is a data type, and the parameter name is num or number. It's just the same way as declaring and initializing a variable. It's the same flow, right? Okay. Then we also can have more than one parameters in a method. And how do we do that? We just separate each of them by using the comma. So we can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that, right? Now, return values. Return values. What are return values? What are return values? Have you heard of return values before? Emmanuel, have you heard about return values? Like what comes to your mind?
Yes,
So what comes to your mind when you hear return values?
return values. Sorry, I'm eating. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, okay.
Return values are basically the data you get back. Basically, just the result of a code or a program. Let's say you write a function, and then you want the function to return a specific data. That's what we call return values. It's
All
kind of
right,
like the result of your.
all right, thank you. So how do we, let's say we write the method that's going to return a value, right? So if I should ask, if I have a method that is void, can that method return a value? A method that is void, is it possible for the method to return a value?
No, it should throw an error.
Yeah, it will throw an error because it's going to throw an error saying this method is void and cannot return a value. All these we'll see clearly when we go into the demo. So a question someone might want to ask is when do I use a parameterless method, or when it's best to use a method that has parameter, and when do I get to use a method that returns a value, right? So there are scenarios to this. So for a method that returns a value, the reason for you defining a method that will return a value is when you are performing, you want to perform calculations. And just like you have defined a method that adds two number A and B, right? A plus B. So you have defined a method that at the end of the calculation and all, return me the answer, give me the answer back. So that is the method that is going to return the final answer of that, the addition of the two numbers. So all this we'll see when we go into demo. Using return values. When a method return a value, you can capture that value and use it. So common ways to use the return value is you store it in a variable like this, then you use it directly in an expression and you pass it as an argument to another method. Everything you see here, it comes by practice. It might not be clear to you now, but as you practice and continue practicing, it will become clear to you. So if a method has a return type, not void, it must have a return statement that returns a value of that type. All right, so any question before we go into our practice? So like I always say, we'll just do less of talking and more of practicals, okay? So as not to keep us in class for long. So any question before we go into our demo? All right, let's proceed. Can you see my VS Studio? Hello, can you see my VS Studio?
So we can see it.
All right, so we are all familiar with parameterless constructors, parameterless methods rather. Parameterless methods are methods that are written this way. We have static, void, and then the name of the method, print the welcome message, right? Then we have console dot console write hello, then welcome to class. Welcome to class Emmanuel. Welcome to class Emmanuel. We're all familiar with this. So this is a void method that does not have a parameter, right? So if I want to call it, I just print welcome message hello, and if I run it, mm, 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 can you see my console?
No.
Okay, I'm coming. It's still loading. All right, let me all right. So how about now? Can you see?
No.
Yeah, right. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So if I want to write a method that prints welcome to class and the name of the person, Emmanuel, I can just do this straightforward. But what if I want to tell 5 different people, welcome to class, then comma separated by, then I will now put their specific names, right? So how do I go about that? So the normal way is, the manual way is to do this 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then print welcome message, welcome to class. And this one will be what? Anita. Then this will be gift. Then this will be Abdul. And this will be what? Marian. All right. Now, who can tell me why I'm having errors here? I'm having error
Because
here. Go ahead.
yeah, because we are having the same method in all of them.
Exactly. So when defining a method, it works the same way with variables. You can't have more than one variable that have the same name, right? So that works same way with methods. But we can have that in our next class. We'll talk of methods that have the same name, but what would distinguish them from the other is the parameters they use, right? So that what we'll talk about in our next class. So for methods, we can have the same name, but different parameters. In our next class, we'll talk about that. But for now, let's just stick with this. So I want to be able to print a welcome message to 5 people, right? Telling them, stating their name, welcome to class Emmanuel, welcome to class Anita, and all. So let me just put 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I should run that, 3, 4, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So if I run this now, I get welcome to class Emmanuel, Anita, Gift, Abdul, Marian. Can you see my console?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what is the difference? What is the difference between all this? Who can spot the difference? What's the difference between these 5 statements? Hello? It's straightforward now.
I think the names.
Exactly. The name is different. So now that we have spotted out that the name is actually what is differentiating between this and this and this. And what we are actually doing is that we are duplicating, we are repeating ourselves so many times, and that's not what we want to do, right? So what we do now is, now we have come to a conclusion that the name is what is different, right? So how do we implement parameters? How do we bring in a parameter called name so that we can actually use one method to manage all of this? How do we achieve that, right? So I hope we are following.
Yes, sir.
All right. So how are we going to achieve that? So I'm going to use one. Let me just do this. Comment this out. I'm going to comment that out. So I will use one. Now, because I want to use the name to make it dynamic, and from our understanding of the syntax of writing a method that has parameters, let me write that out. Okay. All right. So we have the static, then the return. RV is return value. RV stands for return value. Then the method name, then the parameters. How do we define a parameter? First of all, we give it the data type. First data type. It works the same way with initializing, declaring a variable. Data type and the variable name or the parameter name. In this case, since we are talking about methods. So parameter name, then finish. Then the rest is going to be what is in the body. Are we good? That's all. So how are we going to do that now? First, Emmanuel, is it what's the data type for Emmanuel, or what's the data type of this? Is a string, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so obviously we are going to use string name, right? Now, welcome to class Emmanuel. So instead of using this Emmanuel, how do I make use? I have defined the variable, but I have not used it yet. So this is me defining it. But when I use it in my method, that's when I'm actually using it, right? So when I want to use it, welcome to class Emmanuel. So instead of hard coding Emmanuel, I can actually do this. We know the normal string interpolation. I want to call in a variable in here, then call in the name. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, great.
No, sir, I didn't.
Why
Sorry.
didn't you?
My question is, how will I now know that it's a manual that I want to input?
Hmm?
How will I now know that we are referring to a manual?
Just okay, don't worry. When I finish, you'll get it. Don't worry. When I finish, I understand. When I finish everything, you will get it. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So I have the variable name this, right? Parameter name this, right? Now I want to call this method name. I want to call this method name. So how am I going to call it now? We are familiar with this print welcome message. All right. We are familiar with this now. But do you notice there's an error? There's
Yes.
a difference between this. There's a difference between this and there's a difference between this and this, right? So the difference is what? The parameter. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Good. That's the difference between this. Now I have defined, let me delete this now. Let me comment that out. I have defined the method called print welcome message that takes one parameter, right? Now I want to call the method print welcome message the normal way we know. Who is talking? Hello? The gift.
Yes, sir.
Who is talking?
Yes, sir.
Who is
I can hear
talking?
you.
Whose mic is mute? Okay. All right. So I have called the method print welcome message, but I'm having this error that is saying there is no argument given that corresponds to the required parameter name of print welcome message. So this is saying you are required to pass in the argument of this parameter, right? Difference between parameter and argument. Parameter is defining the variable, right? While argument is actually passing in the real value for that method, right? So what you did here, what we are doing here is we are declaring the parameter string name. Now I want to pass in the argument, that is real values, right, for this method. So print welcome message is taking what? Is taking just one parameter, which is name, meaning I have to come here and type in a name, which is Emmanuel. That's all. So if I want to type in for the 5 different people, I will just do this. Emmanuel, Anita, Victor, Gift, Ebuka, Ebuka. Gift, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Great. Emmanuel, Anita, Victor, Gift, and Ebuka. This string here, when calling the method, we pass in the arguments. When defining or declaring a method, we pass in what? Parameters. Take note of the difference. So, right? Parameters has to do with defining the variable name when defining or declaring the method. But when you are calling or executing the method, you are passing in the real value that represents this variable name. It's just like saying we have string string test, right? String test equal to hello, right? This is the parameter because it's defining it, right? While this is the actual value that is replacing this parameter name. Hope we are following.
Sorry, Sarika.
Hello? You are distracted. You are talking to somebody else and you are also in class. At a gift. All right. So I said when you are defining or initializing a variable, we do it this way: string test equal to hello. This is seen as our parameter because it's defining and setting up the variable name test. Why? Why this is the value, the actual value. So when you are trying to call a method, that actual value is known as argument. You are passing in the argument when you are executing or calling in a function. Why? When defining a function, what do? We pass in what? We pass in what?
The data type.
There's a name for it. We pass in what? Argument, right?
Argument.
Hmm?
Yes, the argument.
Emmanuel, is it argument? Do we pass in argument when defining a function or a method?
The parameter.
Thank you. You are not following the gift. So we pass in a parameter when defining a function. Then, when calling a function, what do we pass in? The argument, which is the actual value representing that what? Replacing that parameter. Do we get it? Hello? Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
All right. Marian Uba, are you there? Marian Uba. All right, let's proceed. So that is that for it. Okay. So if I should run this now, if I should run this, you'd notice I would achieve the same output I did when having so many lines of code that gave me the same output. You realize that parameter has a way of making methods dynamic, right? Any question? Okay. But then I have defined this method that is taking in a parameter of string. What if I call the method, right? What if I call the method and I'm passing argument of 5? What do you think will happen? Hmm? Why is it flagging me error? I'm actually passing in the argument, but why is it flagging me error? Gift.
Because of their data type.
Okay, so 5 is an integer, right? Right?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Then when we defined our method, we used string as one of the parameters. That is why it's flagging us this error. So that is telling us that the same data type you use for your parameter should match a data type that's is same for your argument. So meaning if I'm using string as my data type for this parameter name, it means my argument must be a string, which could be this, right? Are
Yes.
we good? Right? Or let me do this now. Hello. Okay. Tell me why am I having this error? I'm
Because
actually
you are
having.
passing the wrong data
So
type.
okay, tell me what's wrong with this. What did I just do? What's wrong?
The parameter is string, but you are passing
The parameter is string. Yes, you got it. Then I'm passing in what?
you are using single quotes instead of double quotes.
So this
Mm.
single quotes is
It's
for which data type?
it's for character
Exactly, char. And how many values does single quotes take?
one.
Exactly. All right. So it will still flag because here I'm using string and here I'm using um char. So it's not going to work. Right? Good. But if I have a problem, okay, don't worry, let's go for that. Are we following? Let me confirm from before we go ahead. Abdul Salam, are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Daniel, are we good? Daniel,
Well,
are we good?
I just joined, sir. I'll have to watch the recording later.
Okay, all right, no problem. Marian, go ahead. Your hand is raised.
Okay, so my question is, what's the difference between parameter and argument?
Okay, Edegift, answer her. What's the difference between parameter and argument?
Okay,
Gift.
sir.
Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The difference between parameter is like here we have the inside this data, the string, that is the parameter, the data type, which is name. Why the argument is um that is the data type. I don't know how to explain this thing, but
Okay. All right. You tried. Okay. So I said, when defining a method, right? When you define a method, you pass in what? Parameters. What you pass in is called parameter because you are actually defining the variable, like defining your, declaring your variable name, right? Marian, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. But
Yes.
now, the normal way of when you are calling the method that you already defined, you are calling it out. You need to pass in real values. I cannot just come here and still pass in the same variable name. It's not going to work. You have to pass in the value that represent a string, which is what? Anything that
argument.
is within this, right? So anything that is within this or anything that is within this parenthesis, when you have called it, is regarded as an argument, which is the real actual value, right? Parameters is defining the variable, right? While argument is passing in the real or actual values for that parameter. Are we good?
Yes, sir. I don't
Okay.
understand.
All right. Great. So let's go for that. Let's do something else. Let's try this. Uh, 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 um, mm, 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 mm. Okay. So I want to calculate. you are asked to write a program, that calculates the addition of two numbers and will print the result on the console. Susie, no network. Beg, I dey class. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Write a program that calculates the addition of two numbers and will print the result on the console. So we are given a program. We are asked to write the code that does that, right? So first thing first, like I told you, methods can have one parameters. Methods can have multiple parameters, can have more than one parameters, okay? Now, first, I declare and define my variable static void. Then what name can I give this method? What's the name? What name is ideal for this problem I'm trying to solve? Hmm? Hello, what name is best fit? Okay, total. All right, total. All right. Although this total can mean anything, but it's fine. Okay, total. So total means, all right, we have the method name total, right? Now, addition of two numbers, it then means I need to pass in what? Two parameters, okay? Because at the end, this is what we want to achieve. Once we have defined the method once we have defined the method, we want to be able to call total, then we'll pass in the two values that needs to be added, maybe 3, 4. Finish. This is what we want to do. Then if we want to add another number, we do the same thing. Total, then 23, 14. This is what we want to do. So how do I define the parameters that will suit this? What will be the first one now? How am I going to write the first one?
Int.
Okay. Int, let's say the first parameter name is maybe num1, right? Comma,
Yes.
then int num2. Are we good?
Yes.
Then open your bracket. Then you can decide to create a variable int result equal to num1 plus num2, right? Num1 plus num2. Then the final answer say print the result on the console, meaning what comes to your mind if you are asked to print the result on the console?
You write console.
Exactly. All right. Console dot
Right line.
write line. Okay. Then you can say the result is, then you put your results. Any confusion?
No.
Great. There are ways to do this, right? You can do it this way, or if you do not want to create a variable and you want to do the calculation inside, you can do this. Let me show you the second way, which still works fine. You can actually do this. Num1 plus num2. It still works fine. Is someone confused? Because this is like, this curly brace is executing, it's actually performing calculation in the real life flow, right? 10 plus 10, 20. So if you want to, it's just like saying this console.log. I've been doing JavaScript for now. It's like saying bam 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 bam. Like saying console dot write line 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4. So 5 plus 4. Let me just see what this one will result to first. Let me comment that out first. Let's see. I've not tried this before. I want to try this now. I want to see what that will give us. Okay, 9. Right? So if we want to perform calculations straight up without having to declare a variable that will hold the results, right? You can as well do that inside of it. Do you get? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Cool. So I have this. So there are two ways to it. So I'm going to stick with the first one. I'm just showing you the other way. So I had a variable that is storing the result of num1 plus num2. Then console write line, the result is this result, finish. Now I want to call the method. And by calling the method, I need to pass in what? 2 arguments, not 2 parameters. Take note. You are passing what? 2 arguments, the 2 values. If I had used just one value, what happens? It's going to flag an error. And why do we have that error? Can anyone tell me?
Because we are passing only one argument.
And we need 2
Two
arguments
arguments.
to
Yes.
suit this defined method that we have implemented, right? So we need to pass in the second argument, right? Now, there's one thing I want you to note now. C# helps us to we'll be dealing more of methods, right? C# help us to know the kind of parameter that is in a method. And what do I mean is there are cases where when we go into OOP, we will get to understand that there are cases where we will not see, we are not going to see this. Someone else will be in charge of actually defining or maybe creating methods and all in somebody else or maybe in another file, right? And our job will be to be calling this method, right? So there are cases where I don't know the content of this method. I don't even know what is actually in this method, if it has a parameter or not. But one way to find out, right? C# help us to tell us the kind of parameter a method would have, if it is parameterless or it has parameter. And how do we do that? First of all, we call in the method name total. Then once you open your and look at it now, see, you type the total now. We should know how to understand and read out all this IntelliSense, which helps us to understand what we are doing. So once you read call the method name, C# will display what that method is doing actually, right? So if you hover on it now, you see that this symbol here, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Hello. All right, this symbol here, whenever you see this symbol, let me zoom in first so that we get to see that. Where is my, okay. So this symbol here, whenever you see this symbol here, that looks like a cube, like stuff, right? That represents method. That's an icon for a method. Note this, so because when we go into OOP, I'm just trying to take my time to explain this methods concept very well, because if you struggle with methods, you're really going to struggle with OP and O. So let's try and get this. So this icon you see here, whenever you see this icon, it means whatever that is here is actually a method. Take note of that too. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great. So void means, hey, the person that defined this method is actually a void method. So the IntelliSense is telling us that this particular method is a void, which we can see here. Okay. Then we have the name. Then we have int num1, int num2. The same thing here. So the documentation is helping us to know what that particular function or method is doing, right? Great. So once I open my my parentheses now, it's telling me that, hey, void total, int num1, int num2, meaning I'm to provide arguments for these two parameters. So if I should provide just one argument, what is it going to tell me? It's going to flag an error saying there is no argument given that corresponds to the required parameter num2. What we have done is we have given a value for num1, but we have not actually given value for num2. Are we good?
Sir.
Hello? Hmm?
Yes.
All right, great. So we need
Yes,
to
sir.
provide the second value and finish. That's all. And when we do that and run our code, we should have 3 console telling us 3 totals. So let's see. The result is 9, the result is 37, the result is 10, right? Great. Now, who is confused? Is anyone confused? You have question? Or do we test things out? You can just try, do you want me to test anything out and see if it's actually going to work? All right, none. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the positions of our argument matters a lot, right? The positions of our argument matters a lot. So take, for example, let's do this. All right, so let's do this. I want the method to print my full name, right? So this is what I want to do. Your method should print out a gift. A gift, right? Your method should print out a gift. Great. So first of all, static void print full name, right? Open bracket. So now this is my first name and this is my last name. What that means is that I need to pass in 2 parameters of data type string, right? String first name, then string last name. Hope we are following. Then we have the console.log JavaScript. Right line saying your name is string interpolation. Your name is first name space last name. Who is confused? So if I should call this print full name, I'm going to pass in what? The gift. I just need to pass in the real values, which is the argument. And if I do that, I get your name is the gift. Right? We all understand this one now, right?
Yes, sir.
Great. But then what if I mistakenly, right? What if I didn't know, I mistakenly put gift here and a there here. I mistakenly because I'm feeling anyhow. Once I run this code now, it's going to say your name is, it will know that this one is representing my first name. It will know that this one is representing my last name. So if I run this now, I'll be seeing gift there, which is not what we want, right? So that brings us to the concept of the way you write your parameters should match how you're going to write your argument. So meaning, if this first name, if it's what you used, the first parameter you defined was first name, it means the argument you are using must tally with that first parameter. Are we following?
Yes.
Great. So I have first name. It means because gift is a last name, I cannot put gift here because this placeholder, this position is for what? First name. That's why if you hover on it, print full name, if you hover on it, it will tell you that this first thing is for first name, while the second one is for last name. Do you get?
Yes.
So let's take note of that. There, then gift. All right, let's take note of that. Although there's a way to go about that, which in our next class I'll cover that. When we go to the next topic, I'll cover that part where what if I don't want to care about positions. I just want C# to just dynamically do that. There's a way to it, which in our next class I would talk about that. Okay. But I hope we are following with this.
Yes, sir.
All right. But now, what if I want to make it dynamic enough and like your name is this, and you are 20 years old. I want to bring age. I want to bring age into this statement. What do you think I'm going to do? I want to make, because I mean, different people will be calling this method name, right? Different people will be calling this print full name, and not everyone is 20 years. Do we get it?
Yes, sir.
Great. So how do I make it dynamic? What do you think I should do? Knowing fully well that our methods can take multiple parameters. So what do you think I can do? Go on, go on. Who wants to try? What do you think I should do? Hmm? Uh-uh. Yeah, Abdul.
You just include int in the parameter so that you can accept integer.
Sorry?
And I said in those parameters, you just include integer. The argument, you just include integer
Okay.
as
So
far
I
as
have first
our
name, last name. So I
yes,
can have another parameter name for
age.
age, right? So instead
Yes,
of
sir.
hard coding this, I can do this age, right?
Yes, sir.
Great. So for this now, it's flagging me error. Why?
Due to you have now included the third parameter
Exactly. The third word, what do we call that?
argument.
Ar- Exactly, argument. So meaning if I do this 25 years, Abby, it's 25 years. But it's telling me still flagging error. Why?
Remove
Because
the
of
documentation because it's not strange.
Okay, exactly. All right. So you're following. So this is this, right? So imagine 10 people will be calling this function, right? It's now dynamic enough, meaning copy, paste. If there's someone whose name is Esther Ben, And Esther Ben is what? 35 years old. Programming is very interesting. Anglican. Hey, no more. Is there anybody by name Anglican? Bishop. And like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. So it's dynamic enough to go into the code and replace these variables with the actual argument. So how it works is this. Let's make use of our console. Let's make use of our console so that we just see the workings using debugging, right? So how it works is this. Let me put this. All right. Now let me do this so that we just see the flow, how it's. Okay, Abdul, go ahead.
Okay, sir. I want to ask a question concerning debugging using console. Like that, I noticed that when you want to debug, you delete all the comments, commented.
No, I don't. I can leave the comments there. All I know is
Okay.
that if I run it, it's not going to. I just wanted the listing to be clean. It
Okay.
was
What
dirty.
am I, is it going to read?
It's not going to read comments. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Right line. So I can say start. Okay. Then end. And this is the start of the program. Is the end. So I'm going to put my break here. So let's debug. All right, so this is starting here. F10 is to go to next, so let's make use of this one. Step into, let's go to the next line. Now, print full name. This is the argument. Whenever it encounters a method, in our mind, we'll be thinking, since it's going to print here, it's now coming here to print the second one. It's not going to be so. It would go into the method. It's going to go straight into that method, execute everything, come out, print the result, go to the next line. It's not going to come here direct. It is going to still go straight to the method, do everything, come out, then go into this other one. Is someone confused? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great. So let's see how that works. I'm going to press F10. I'll be making use of F10 so we see it. So how it works is this. Okay, I did not put a breakpoint here. Let me put a breakpoint here so that you will see it clearly. Let me run it again. Okay, start. It comes here. Now it's taking in what? See now, first name is what? Ede, right? Let me put this here so that we see this is it. I mean, move this one. I don't need this one. I don't need this one. All right. Last name. Let me take this here so that we see everything clearly. Age. All right. It has gone into the method with this updated value, which is what? Ede. It has automatically gotten the value from the argument. Do you get first name, last name, age 25, which is this? So it goes into the method body, executes the line of code. Currently, it executes the line of code. So if I should print this now, we'll see this. Your name is Ede Gift and you are 25 years old, right? It goes out, comes here, goes to the next line of code. It's not going to come here. It will go back to the method call and perform it. But this time around, do you notice the difference? Now it is taking in this new argument. It's not using this old one, no, because that's has passed now. It's not taking in the new argument, which is what? S star, then 35. Comes here, executes it, comes here, and if you check it, you see your name is Esther Ben and you are 35 years old, right? It goes to the next line, comes to the method, it updates it to the new actual value for this variable. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Great. Then same flow. Like when I started, then I used debugging to understand what was happening behind the scene. So you can actually try that out when you are practicing. Then at the end, it comes here and that's the end. So that's how it works. So any method call, even if this was down, 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 even if it was maybe in line, let's say where you defined it was in this line, 123. Wherever you define the method, once you call it, it will go straight to where it was defined and perform the logic. That's how it works. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, so let's do some practice. So you're asked to calculate the area of a rectangle. What's the area of a rectangle again? What's the area of a rectangle? Who can tell me area of a rectangle? What's the area of a rectangle?
Length times breadth.
Let
Okay. Calculate the area of a rectangle, right? Write a method that calculates the area of a rectangle, okay? So how do we do that? First of all, static void, right? We'll soon come to return types. Yeah, return types. We'll soon come to that. Static void, calculate, open brackets, length time we read, right? Meaning we need two parameters. Are we good?
Yes.
Great. So
Yeah.
int area in breadth. Yeah, I think that's spelling. Then calculate the area of that, and console log it. So console.log, sorry, console right line, area times BRED, breadth, finish. Now I can call the method with the actual argument, which is maybe 5,2, right? Now once I do this, it gives me 10. 5 times 2, 10. Are we following?
Yes.
Great. But then now, there are times when you don't want to use console. You just want to return a value. Like what we have been doing is we have been returning a void. This method doesn't return. A method that does not return something is a void method. So we have been using void methods all along. But now we want to talk about a method that returns a value. It could be a string, it could be a char, it could be a double, it could be anything. So how do we do that? Yeah, how do we do that? So now we're going to talk about so let's start with int. Return a method that returns an integer. How do we write that? Okay. Right. A method that is very straightforward. A method that returns an integer, an int. So how is that written? Static. Now we are not going to use void because now this method is supposed to return an integer. So what are we going to use?
Int.
Exactly. We use int. Calculate. Maybe this is going to, what is my age? Static int. What is my age? Print age or return age. Return age. Open bracket. Then you have your body. Now, this is, if you leave it like this now, I know this, there is another part that confuses people a lot. So I'm going to take my time to do more practice on this. This method is returning what? Based on this, it's supposed to return what?
An integer.
It's supposed to return an integer. So whatever logic you have here, whatever implementation, whatever you do, at the end of the implementation, even if you had over, let me, even if you had so many logic, you had the logic was over 10, 20 lines of code. At the end of it, since this method is a return type, it must have a return keyword. And that return keyword must be followed by what? The value that represents that data type, which could be maybe 4 or maybe 5 or maybe 6. So far as it's an integer. Do we get? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So it works same way with double, string, and all. So I'm going to use int to explain more about this, right? So I have this method that returns an integer, right? Great. So assuming I have, let's say, write a method that adds two numbers, right? A method that does what? That adds two numbers, right? Write a method that adds two numbers and stores the results in a variable and stores the results in a variable, right? Great. And stores the result in a variable. So what we need to do first is what? Define it. Static. Am I going to use void? Am I
No,
supposed to use void? Because
no.
the aim is to return something, right? From the question. Yeah, the aim is to return something. And what you need to return is what? An integer. Okay. Right, great. So static int, then the name of the method, add addition. Maybe addition is the name of the method. Now I need to pass in two numbers, which could be int num1, int num2, int num2, then open bracket. Then I can decide to do this, create a variable in result equal to num1 plus num2, right? And at the end, return what? I want to return what? This value. We know that
Result.
these results, yeah, is storing the final calculation of num1 and num2, which is num1 plus num2. So this result is going to be storing it. But our goal is to return the value, the final answer of this method. So by doing that, how do we do that? We make use of the return keyword and the value you want to return, which is what? Results. Finish. So that's how we do it. So if you hover on this now, this is actually, this result is an integer, right? Which is returning an int. Now, there's this concept or this scenario whereby you are asked to go and buy something, right? Let's say you are asked to go and buy bread. What that means is that you are to come back, with what? Bread. Do you get? Let's say I send you to go and buy bread for me. It means I am waiting for you to return with my bread. Do you get? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
but
It
sir, I
remains.
have question.
All right, go
Uh,
ahead.
okay, my question is like here you use static ints,
Okay,
then up there you use static void.
okay.
So my question is, what is the difference of using this void and the ints, like which we know that is data type?
Okay. Void method doesn't have a return keyword. They don't have a return keyword because they are not returning anything. They are just maybe printing, making use of console to maybe print. They do the job of maybe printing to the console to see what you want to see. Like they don't have a return keyword. Void do not have that. Every void method, they don't return anything. And since they don't return anything, they don't make use of return keyword. Why for methods that return something, they make use of what? Return keyword. Do you get the difference?
Yes, sir.
Void methods don't return anything. They don't return anything. Why? Methods that return data types, they make use of return keyword that returns something. So speaking about the example I gave earlier that has to do with I send you to go and buy bread, it then means I'm waiting for you to bring my bread for me. So why is that necessary? I was asked to write a method that adds two numbers and stores the result in a variable. There are different ways to this, right? Or let's say perform a calculation. Let me just use this. Perform a calculation of, perform an addition, perform an addition of two numbers, perform addition of two numbers. There are different ways to this, right? The first way you can do is you can have in result equal to just any number. They are just asking you for, okay, perform an addition of two numbers stated as, meaning you are supposed to use this number stated as 4 and 5, meaning you must use 4 and 5, okay? So the first way you would think of is int result equal to 4 plus 5, right? Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Great. Int result is 4 plus 5. This is the result. This is the variable that is going to store the result. This is the first way you go about it. Or you can even say, let int num1 equal to, I hope this is not going to be confusing. Then int num2 equal to 5. Then at the end, we have what? Int result equal to what? Num1 plus num2. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Or we all know that this method does the same addition, which is doing the same thing, right? Or
Yes.
we can do this int result, maybe let's give it 3 equal to addition what? 4 comma 5. They are the same thing. Why is that so? Why is that so? In a real sense, 4 plus 5 is returning something. Like, whenever you see something like this, just see it as this variable is waiting for the calculation of 4 plus 5 so that they can actually store it in the variable, right? So 4 plus 5 is the implementation, which is 9, and the 9 gets stored into result, right? But now, addition 4 and 5 is a method that is returning something. The reason why it needs to return something is because it has to save that something in this variable. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
Great. So any method you define, like I said, when I talked about when do I use a method that returns something and when do I use a void method, you will know when to use it based on the question or the problem you are trying to solve. So if the problem you are trying to solve requires you to return a value so that it will be stored in this variable, then you have to go ahead and define a method that returns something because it needs to be stored in a variable. Is anyone confused?
We are good to go, sir.
All right. Who do I call now? Daniel, are we good?
Yes, sir, we're good.
All right. Emmanuel, Mariana Bate, are we good? I know you joined late. Marianne, are we good? She's sleeping. Okay. Marianne Uba, are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, let's proceed. Great. So that's how it works. Okay. Int result 3 equal to this because I am waiting for a value, right? And that, okay, what if um 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 um, um there's a possibility that as a programmer we try as much as possible to avoid mistake, right? So there's a possibility that this is holding the real value and this is actually going to print. Who can tell me why this will work? Return 7888. And if I'm returning this, what's going to be the real value for this? Hmm? Is it 9 or 78888?
It will return the value 4 plus 5.
Which is 9
Yes.
instead of this 78888.
Yes.
Why?
Because that's not the method that
I,
was defined. I mean, yes.
I like this. I like this. Who agrees?
The
I feel like it's going to
variable,
return 7888. It's going to return the 7888 because
Exactly.
the function states that it returns
Great. It's going to do that. Okay, let me
regardless
explain why.
of the
Yes,
parameter.
regardless of whatever you get here. So this is why this return, right? This return is very, very powerful. You can have so many correct logic that makes sense before the return. This return is like it's like saying return is the god, like it's the god. So whatever value you or implementation you do before return, if you don't, if return says return 0, even if your result is correct and you don't return this variable result, if you return another value 0, the final result you will get here is 0. Do you get it? Hello?
yes, sir.
Great. So even if I wanted to return this value, I know my result actually it's flagging me error because it has exceeded the int size. So let me just use this one. Okay, let me use this one. So my result is 9, and I want this calculation to print the correct answer, which is 9. So there are mistakes whereby your result is 9 and the programmer will just put in a value, just as maybe the aim of the programmer is to, maybe they have been working in a company and maybe the company um decide not to pay him for 5 years. The programmer can actually, that's why backend is very, very critical and vital, right? Someone who is very wicked can just go to your code, and instead of you can go to your code and actually this is the correct way, right? This is the correct result. But the person can go into your code and just change this thing to 55555, and it's going to be returning the wrong values, and you'll be like, what's actually happening? I mean, this addition is supposed to return 4 5, which is 9, but whenever I run it, let's run it and see. 4 plus 5, right? Whenever I run it, it's printing 55555. Where is it? Okay, now I'm not seeing the value 55555 in my console. Why? Hmm?
Because you've not called the function.
Sorry? I've actually called the
Because you've
function.
not called.
This is it. I've called it. See, this is me calling it.
Did you console? You didn't console those,
Exactly.
right?
Yes. I've stored the value, but I've not console it so that I can see it visually. Yeah. Console dot write line, which is what results 3. Great. So if I run this, I'll see 55555. Then I'm supposed to see normal now. 4 plus 5 is 9. But how come I'm seeing 55555? So these are things you see in real life, and you are asked to go and debug and find out why is this returning 555. And at the end, when you go into it, maybe you are a new developer and you ask to debug this issue, you go into this method and you realize that, yeah, this is the result. It means that this should return the actual result. But when you go further down, you see that, the person that wrote this code, he knows what he's doing. No, maybe this is a bank application, or that's more like if you deposit money or you withdraw, it's whatever amount you want it to withdraw, that's what it's going to give. So the person has wrote the code in such a way that if you put in an amount, it can actually triple it. So someone can be wicked to say this. Let's say you are putting in into this method, you want to withdraw 5,000. Then someone can write the code to do this way. Result actually is result times 500. Who get the gist? Meaning you withdraw using that function, and at the end, you are getting more than the amount. We have seen things like that. Who understand what I just did? Hello? Are we following?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we are getting to appreciate the what this return does. It's very, very powerful. So let's just try to make sure that whatever method we define, it's actually returning the correct value, right? Not a fake value and all. Then another thing to note is any return, this is the body, right? This is the body. This is the body. If I encounter a return and after the return, there is another, there are other logic, maybe int a equal to int a equal to 5, right? I want to perform another thing. Once you encounter return, it will not execute anything below it. Like I said, return is the last bus stop, is the last. So if you have something under it, it's not going to execute that. It will just go out of this. Return means go out of the function and return whatever you are returning to the variable that is waiting for the value. Do you get? So it might not be clear to you now, but with time, when you practice, you get to understand all this. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any question? Any question? All right, let's try something. Let's do something finally. Let's just write a live program. Create a method. Create a method called that takes the username and the password. Create a method that takes in username and password, right? That takes in the username and password. So if the username that is being passed, if the password, right? If password, okay, let's use this. If username is equal to if username is maybe gift and the password is what gift 1 2 3 4 5. I know gift, this is your password in real life. Gift 1 2 3 4 5. This is your password. So if username is this and password is this, what should happen? It should return what? Return 10. Okay, return 1, right? Let's try to understand the question. Create a method that takes in username and password. If username is gift, right, and password is gift 1 2 3 4 5, let it return 1. Else, let it return well. But if it is wrong, but if it's not correct, return what? Return 0. Are we all following?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Great. So tell me, what do I do? So what's the first thing? Let's define the method. So how are we going to define the method?
Static.
Static int,
Why are we using int?
because we are returning an integer.
All right, which is 1 or 0. Okay, static int. Then we can give the method name. Say what? Maybe the person wants to log in, right? Or
Login.
okay, log in. So open bracket. What's the next thing?
Int string username.
All right. Okay.
Then int password. Sorry, string password.
String password. Okay. All right. Continue.
Then you now declare a variable.
Okay. I'm listening. Go ahead.
The string variable.
How do I write the string variable?
So we
You
have
said
a
I should declare
condition,
it.
conditional statement.
Exactly. Aya, go ahead.
Oh, so
Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me the conditional statement now. Hello.
If
If what? I'm
If
waiting. Oh,
username
okay. If username is what?
is equal to gift,
Is
strict
equal
policy,
to gift. Uh-huh.
and ampersand
Okay.
password is equal
Is
to
equal to
gift 1 2 3 5 3 4 5.
gift 1 2 3 4 5. Okay.
Return 1.
Return 1. Okay.
Else
Is that
return
all?
0.
All right. Else return 0. Great. So who understands this? Confusing? Like I said, if you do not understand operators, the conditional statement and all, it's going to really affect you as we progress into the part topics and all, right? So let's take note of that. Okay. So now we have defined it. Now let's call it. So maybe I have a variable because I said since this method is returning something, it means there is a variable that is waiting for the value. So probably I have let's say int results1 equal to login. So let's say assuming the first person that logged in was BD with password 1 2 3 4 5. Then I have the second person. Let me just copy this. I have 5 people, 6 people trying to log in. Let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So the second one is actually gift. Yeah, it's actually gift. Then password gift, gift 1 2 3 4 5. Third one could be um gift, then gift 1 2 3 4 5. Fourth one could be um um gift, then this trying to gift 1 2 3 4 5. Then we have the fifth one. I just stop there and give gift, then gift 1 2 3 4 5. All right, great. So let's all right, let's print um console dot write line write line results 1. So what's going to be Abdul, what's going to be the value for result 1?
Yes, I'm coming. Which
For result 1, what's going to be the value for result 1? This
result
result.
one? That will be 0
Why is it 0?
because the condition said if username equals to gift
Okay, great.
and password equals to gift 1 to 5.
All right, so if I console this, I get 0 here. Great, thank you. So let's 2 add a gift. You're not supposed to fail this, so don't use your name. What will be the value for result 2? That is this.
The value will
This
be 0.
I thought it's 1.
Mm-mm.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You are very sure. You want to walk, you're not going to walk away with 5 million naira. Like you want to take the $10 billion.
I'm sure.
All right, that's fine. You got it right. Okay. Marian, Uba, the third one. What's going to be the result, the value for result 3?
So it's going to be 0.
Interesting. People are doing well. Okay. Daniel, what's the value for result 4?
It's going to be 0.
It's still 0. Okay. Oh, Abanoko. Emmanuel na boss na. He go get them. Cha. I hope he feels it. Aya, Emmanuel, answer.
1.
Hey, finally we have gotten 1. All right, that's nice. Great. So we all understood today's topic very well. That's impressive. So we have come to the end of how we pass parameters and return types. So meaning it doesn't stick with this int. We can have a return type of string. So if I put string here, who can tell me why I'm having error here? Why am I having error here? Why am I having error everywhere? Let's start from here. Hmm?
Come again. I didn't get your
Because
question.
you should be returning a
Now
string, but
it
we're
is
returning
returning
that.
a string. Exactly. So I have changed the method return type to a string, but in the code, we are still returning an integer. So the error is that since this is now returning an integer, this is supposed to return a string, which could be this, right? This is a string. Do you get? Right? Are we good? Then here we are having error. Why? Why do we have all this error? Cannot implicitly convert type string to int, but like who can spot the error? Nobody can spot the error. Yeah, Marian Uba, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
um the the arguments are strings, and you're trying to save it inside an integer variable.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. You deserve an award. God bless you. Simple as that. I mean, straightforward, right? So, thank you very much. So that's the end of today's lesson. And if is there any question before we end today's session? All right, so I have dropped the task for this week, which is on your LMS. So try and do that. Your deadline is on Saturday, 11 p.m. So it's going to promote you to the next phase. Yes, so let's try and attempt them. All right. Okay, thank you all for joining and see you all on Thursday. Yep. Try to practice and try to make research. Yep. Good night. Have a wonderful night. Stop recording. Ah, you people don't want to go.